exactly is hypertension or high blood pressure?
And probably the most efficient way that I could explain high blood pressure is to think about two things. One is your heart is a pump, and number two, your heart has to pump the blood throughout your circulation and throughout your blood vessels. When a person has high blood pressures, what happens is that the blood vessels in your body here tend to constrict for a variety of reasons. And when your blood vessels are constricted, your heart, which is a pump, has to work a lot harder to get the blood circulating throughout the body. You have a couple organs in particular that are very, very sensitive to changes in pressure. And one of those would be your eyes, and the second one is the kidneys. And over time, you can experience damage to your kidneys and to visual changes in your eyes to untreated, prolonged high blood pressure.
So what causes high blood pressure?
To be honest with you, we don't really know for sure what causes high blood pressure. We know that African Americans tend to have a higher rate of hypertension than other people groups do, and we also know that it tends to run in families, but we really don't know what causes it. What we do know, however, are some things that make high blood pressure worse. And if you can think of the three S's, smoking, salt, and stress. Those are three things that can make hypertension worse.
Let's talk a little bit about smoking and high blood pressure.
First is smoking, and it's like, but I love to smoke. Yeah, I know it's a tough habit to kick, but I don't know if you know why smoking is bad. It can be bad for your lungs, but also bad for your heart. And the reason is that one of the main ingredients in smoking is nicotine, and nicotine is a vasoconstrictor. It causes your blood vessels to constrict, so it causes the blood vessels to supply your heart to constrict, and also the blood vessels that your heart has to pump blood to also constrict. When you have constricted blood vessels, your heart has to work a lot harder to get the blood circulating through those constricted vessels.
Well, what does salt have to do with high blood pressure?
Number two is salt. I love salt too, and I know a lot of us love our salty foods. But salt actually causes your body to retain fluid. If you eat excessive amounts of salt, your body will hold on to that salt, and where salt goes, water follows. So your body holds on to larger amounts of fluid. If you have increasing amounts of fluid, your heart has to work harder to pump that extra volume throughout your body. So that's why salt can be not such a great thing when you have hypertension.
We're definitely sure that stress can contribute to high blood pressure.
And the third thing is stress. When people are stressed, your body releases a chemical called epinephrine, which, guess what? It also causes your blood vessels to constrict and makes your heart have to work harder. So smoking, salt, and stress are three factors that can cause and contribute to high blood pressure.
Well, what do I do if I have high blood pressure?
So as a healthcare provider, when you come to the clinic, as a healthcare provider, we may ask you to do a couple things to help reduce some of those risk factors for hypertension. One of them is we may ask you to try to cut back on your smoking. Ideally, it'd be great if you could quit, but I know it's a tough habit to break. But if you can even start cutting back on your smoking, you're giving your blood vessels an opportunity to relax, thereby decreasing the amount of heart work that your left ventricle and your heart has to do to pump blood throughout your circulation. The second thing, you may be asked to take what we call a diuretic or a water pill to remove a little bit of that extra fluid that your heart has to pump around. And the third thing related to that, we may be giving you a blood pressure medication to actually relax the blood vessels. The whole thing we're trying to accomplish here is to have your heart have to do less work in circulating the blood throughout your body. Finally, we would really want to try to encourage you to figure out ways that you can deal with stress in your body. And being Christians here at the Living Well Clinic, I think one of the best ways that we can deal with stress is to know who we belong to. Knowing that I can go to the Lord in prayer and share with Him, even if there's nobody else I can talk to, I can always go to Him and share with Him my concerns, my problems, my joys. And just by talking to the Lord through the power of prayer, I think is one way that we can decrease stress in our life. And I think just having that peace that passes understanding and knowing that God is in control, no matter what happens, we can trust Him to work things out for good, for those who love Him and are called according to His purposes. So looking at hypertension or high blood pressure in a holistic way. There are things that we can do physically to help us feel better, but then also things that we can do spiritually and emotionally by working with our families and be interacting with friends and being aware of our relationship with them.
Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.